your breath, and you have to, it's just so common sense that it's hard to think, like, how is this going to help? Like, breathing is such an underrated tool. Like, oh, you breathe. You breathe every day. But if you're consciously thinking about it, or like if you teach the students to consciously think about it, then it will regulate them, as in, like, they'll calm down. Because I've seen it happen, and I have, like, video and stuff that I want to show you. But one part that I tried is, like, playing with breath, especially with kindergartners. So the first couple of exercises, it's just, like, exploring breath, like breathing, like how it is in your body, like, just because, especially 5-year-olds, like, their lung capacity, they're basically playing with it and trying to figure out, like, how to take a big breath and how to hold a big breath like that. So milk playing, I think that's the first one in your packet, but we tried it the other day, and so I was going to show you how it was tried in the classroom. One thing that I wish I talked about more was a lot of the inhaling. Like when you're breathing in the milk. Yeah, I mean, you're not breathing in the milk, but like when you're blowing the bubbles.
We got you.
That's weird.
Well, while you're getting that ready, I'm about to throw this out there. I was just kind of thinking about our kids with high ACEs scores. And I was talking about the students that have a dulled response to the being able to monitor.
Yeah, see, I think they're constantly in fight or flight mode. Right, like their environment, they're constantly, like, survival is what it is. So to come to a normal environment, that's hard for them because they've never experienced that before.
So teaching those breathing exercises would be a tool to help.
Why are we doing this? Why are we going to be blowing into milk? What? Raise your hand. What are we practicing? What are we thinking about? Chastity, what do you think?
I'm breathing.
You're going to be thinking about your breathing. How it feels in your tummy. How it feels. Oh, I love how Cameron's still looking at me. How it feels in your chest. How it looks in the milk. You're going to see your breath in the milk because you're going to be blowing into the straw that's going to go into the milk. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Remember, you must stop when the timer goes off. And if you spill, clean it up. N-A-G-O.
And this is more like they were just playing with it, really, which is good for them. Like, they're just, sometimes they just need to play with it, really, to give them that experience.
Milk on the tray. Make sure the milk's on the tray. Don't forget the milk on the tray. And clean the cup.
So yeah, they were enjoying themselves, and while they probably didn't realize that they were thinking about their breathing, they were experiencing it. And so that's why these are, like, fun exercises to do at the beginning of the year. And then in the video, I tried to ask one of them about it, which, I mean, yeah, he doesn't really realize where exactly. That's why I'm trying to guide him, like, where do you feel it? And it's hard for him to explain.
You know where you feel it when you're breathing? Can you point to where you feel it in your body? Do you feel it here or here? Up here in your lungs?
We need help. We need a lot of things. So yeah, like, it talks about having your students take long breaths. So that was something that I wish I did when we did the other day, taking long breaths in the milk together, because I just kind of gave them the free-for-all, and then taking short breaths together and seeing what it looks like. And then this one we're going to try in here. It's, I think, on the second page in your packet. So you have feathers and straws, because basically what you're going to be doing, and this is kind of like a mindful exercise because you're going to be watching the feather, like kind of focused on the feather. But you're going to take the straw and the feather and put it in your index finger and your thumb, and you're just going to blow onto the feather. And you can blow long, and you can blow short, and you can play around with it. And watch, like, the plumes as, like, they kind of float in the air. Like, if there's some, like, thicker plumes on there, like, that are more stuck together. If you blow really hard, like, what happens? So put the straws and the feathers on there. And I know it's kind of silly, but it's just, again, you're just exploring like what it looks like and what it feels like. So I know it feels kind of awkward. I mean, we're all in this room blowing on feathers, but it's just part of the experience. What do you guys think? Again, this is more like you're just playing with your breath type thing. I know the kids would have more fun with it, but I just thought it was fun to try just because it was also like you're watching the feather, and so that's part of like mindful, like you're focused on the feather. And then, okay, the breathing techniques. So these are techniques to I try to use these techniques when I notice, like, because I have a couple of kids that I know that they're going to explode, that's just what they do. So I try to notice their patterns and try to intercept them before it gets to the point where the past the point of no return. I don't know if you feel like with our kids, there's a point where they're gone and you can't reason with them or get them back. Like they're gone, and that's when you have to call the office because there's no coming back. So I have to catch them before they get to that point in order for it to work. Because if I'm doing it after, then it's not going to work because all reason has gone out the window at that point. And so it's taken the two that I'm thinking of. In my classroom, it's taken them a long time to do independently, and it's something that I had to model and remodel and model and do with them, and like the whole class is doing it together, and it just has taken a lot of time for them to finally come to the point where they can independently do it. So I'm just saying, like, it's not going to work the first time, but like keep going. It eventually does work. It's just maybe not right away, and especially not independently. And like I said, I do them to calm myself down. Okay, and I kind of wanted to go through the science with it. Basically, like what Diane was saying, like they're in flight or flight mode at this point when they're starting to get escalated or when they start to have like rapid breathing. And so you can teach them to recognize what they're doing with their body. Like I know Anaya, she'll start to like, she gets like more aggressive with her things. Like I have to pick out like what she does with her body, and I have to point it out to her. I have to nicely point it out to her, but I also like, her voice will change, like it will get more high pitched. So I have to tell her like, Anaya, like do you notice your voice right now? Like do you feel how it feels in your face? Because a lot of the kids, like when they're angry, like it's in their face. And like they furrow their brow. I'm like, do you feel your face? Like that is showing you that you are angry. And I have to talk to her about it. And I have to remind her what it is when it's happening, because the last time I talked to her about it, she didn't remember. So I have to remind her again. And so if they can recognize their signals, then they can independently start to do the parasympathetic breathing, which is the calm breathing part of their brain. And like I said, I have to model it heavily because, like I said, they don't recognize that they're going into fight or flight mode. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to help them recognize that they are starting to get angry. So it's like I said, for example, Anaya, so I'm going to play this video of... I'll go find it here. Again and click on it, and then I should be able to go there and change. And this was
You're doing a great job.
the incident happened outside, and it was coming in, And she went straight to, I have a breathing desk. Like, if I start to notice them and they start to notice themselves, like, that's the first place that they go to. And what she's doing, because this type of breathing is, and this one's not mentioned in the book, but she's breathing in, she's holding, and she's like, so she knows that she's breathing in, she's holding onto her tummy, she's holding it for 5 seconds. So, like, I have to let it all, like, I tell them to let it all out, let out all the air, take a big belly breath in.
Okay, how about your tummy? How does that feel?
And then you let it go. You have to hold it for 5 seconds. Because when you're holding it for 5 seconds, I don't know how it happens or like what the science is, but for some reason there's like some sort of nerve that it's activating the parasympathetic breathing. And then I have to go in and check on her. Like if she still feels it in her face or she still feels it anywhere in her body, then she has to do it again because she's not quite done yet. Because sometimes she'll rush through it. I'm done! And I'm like, okay, Naya, did you notice your voice? Like, do you notice the way that you're talking to me? You're not quite done yet, so go back and do it again.
Now, how's your breathing? It's slow. Okay, because I'm going to ask you what happened outside.
And that's when I asked her about it. Because I don't want to talk to her, or at least I try not to talk to her about it like in the moment or the start of the heat of the moment. I try to talk to them about it after. And then we talk about consequences then afterwards. Because like, with an event, with what she did, there has to be a consequence. So
just to add in while she's getting ready is, because I would happen to be here, the student had gotten in trouble and the office had been called and she stood inside this door and knew that somebody was coming down to get her. And so, was fuming and mad and doing all of her stuff and stomping around. Well, it took a little while, for somebody to come from the office. And then she kind of eventually walked over and did the same. Walked over and did her desk. I was kind of like,
I know, yeah. That was the first time that she had ever, because normally I have to remind her, that was the first time that she ever went in and did it without me telling her. So yeah, like I said, I have to look for her triggers. Like, I know what triggers her, and then after that, I have to look to see like how her body is reacting so I can go in and catch her and have her do the breathing before it escalates. So yeah, when I see her being triggered, that's when I have to stop myself. Like, okay, how is my breathing? Like, is she triggering me? Like, am I getting really upset right now? How's my breathing? What are my hands doing? Because those are indicators for me. Like, I can't just go into that, like, escalated myself because I know it's going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. And I kind of found the secrets from a bomb disposal, because it's like, okay, like the student's kind of like a bomb because they're going to explode. And so it's like, avoid the rabbit hole where the what if questions, what if she does this, what if that, like that's not in that moment. And then focus on what you can do, like what can you do to help in this moment, and what can you control, and then the next step, like what next, not what next the next day, like what next right now. And which again is all about mindfulness, because mindfulness is being in the moment right now. It's not about the future, it's not about the past, it's being here now. And so I had to teach the holding 5 breath. I did it with Anaya, and I gave her the cube so she can count how many times she's done it, and I've done it with the whole class. And again, she's still not completely independent with that. Like I said, it's not, mindfulness is not the cure-all. Like yesterday, she had to go to the office. Like she just got to the point where she was knocking stuff off my desk. So it's not going to save the child, but at least it's going to help them. It's going to decrease their chances from going to the office. And again, like I said, I have to model the growth mindset language. So like, okay, you made a mistake. You're going to learn from your mistake, and it's okay that you made it. Let's try not to make it again. Let's think about that for next time. And so another breathing technique, this is elevator ride. Basically, like you're sitting in a quiet room. I have my back against the wall, and basically you're imagining like an elevator. When you breathe in, the elevator is going up. And then when you breathe out, the elevator is going down, and you're imagining it as it goes down, like each spot on your spine. So like imagining it going slowly down and slowly back up, because you're taking like those long, deep inhales and exhales. And like at one time we drew like the